Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Patriot Nation TV. I'm your host, Tim Davis, your new age patriot with the 1776 attitude. Just one man, one opinion, trying to make sense of it all in this bizarre world. It is December 30th, 2021. Basically, on the eve of a new year, about 26 hours from now. We'll be into 2022. And I'm going to do a little show on what I think people need to focus on in 2022. I'm not going to talk about the obvious, such like the midterm elections and stuff like that. We're going to leave that alone for now. It's only still in 2021. So what I'm going to talk about is two things. And it's some men just want to watch the world burn. That's all they want to do. These are leaders, bankers, pastors, rabbis. Just some men just want to see the world burn. That's how they profit. Right? War's a racket. So also I'm going to talk about a little article. I remembered it. I think I archived it one of my old accounts that got disbarred on Facebook. But I remembered it because I was going through little notes I had written down from years ago. It was an article I came across in Life magazine. We're going to talk about that. And that was Satan's 500-year plan and how it applies to today's modern world. This was written, I believe, in 1948. It was written in 1948. And maybe I'll post in my description area the video of Paul Harvey from 1965, If I Was the Devil, stuff like that. And so the point is this, let's get to the show. Some men just want to watch the world burn. I believe that. And they come under, guises of peace and stuff like that. We live in a time where, personally, one man, one opinion, I believe it's a spiritual war. I think we're in a civil Cold War, but it's a spiritual war. That's the time that we're living in. And to me, it just appears Satan's not even hiding anymore. And there's still people out there that don't see him, don't see what's going on. 2022 is big. Hope everybody has a blessed new year. But keep your eyes on the ball, folks. Keep your eyes on the ball. The people on the right side of history are usually fighting for freedom and liberty, not censorship, not re-education camps, not segregation. Nah, that's not the right side of history. And obviously, there's a big little pandemic again, exploding. People are getting it. I guess the new variant is what it is. I don't have to say. But I will tell you this. They will turn on the unvaccinated. They will turn on the unvaccinated just like they turned on the Jews in Germany. They're going to do it if you allow it. That's why I say keep your eyes on the ball. The truth is not for everyone, but only for those who seek it. And it's going to bring me to my opening topic. Some men just want to watch the world burn. In the West, there seems to be an assumption that runs through a variety of political orientations that if we just solve poverty, provide more fundamental freedoms, or accommodate more desires, that all people will be peaceful. We seem to have forgotten that the West system of government and general political outlook has traditionally been rooted in the idea that all men commit both good and evil, and that some evil cannot be remedied by any means other than force. Such thinking was long rooted in the Christian view of the fallen nature of man At that time, it was believed that all men were affected by the original sin, and therefore had an evil side to them. Some men fought against the evil within, while others gave themselves over to it. As we see in pop culture terms, think of like Dark Sidious from Star Wars, right? It's, that's today's pop culture, music and stuff, maybe say that for another show. Leave a comment. But the greatest defense against the dark side of man's nature was to raise children with a moral compass so that individuals could govern themselves. Nonetheless, there was recognition that even the best of us commit evil, and therefore government was seen as necessary to restrain the destructive tendencies of man's nature. Thomas Jefferson once said, right? Government is a necessary evil. The danger in government, though, was that the darkest of man's desires could harness its power for selfish desires, which would lead to absolute deposition. In recent history, think of guys like Hitler, Stalin, Mao, Pol Pot, Castro, guys like that, Mussolini, Lenin. But there was also another kind of man. There's also another kind of man, the destroyer. The destroyer. He's a variant of man's desire to have power. While some men want power to create something that exalts them, other men find the fulfillment of power by destroying everything. There can be nothing over them in his way. Can't be in his way. They give themselves over to their desires at the expense of others. What's going on? Look what's going on. Think about it. The old Batman movie. I think it was with what's his name? The old Batman movie. Christian Bale was Batman in it. When Alfred. Maybe I'll put that in the description too. That little clip. That's where I'm getting this from. He popularized this attitude, and Alfred's well known. Warning to Bruce Wayne. He says, it is something to keep in mind as the West debates. This is what we got to keep in mind. Domestic crime, and however to solve all the evils that bedevil us and the world. If indeed good and evil are part of the human condition, then the best we can do is to try to teach children what is right and wrong, as well as establishing and maintaining just laws that balance freedom and order while containing the destructive tendencies in all of us. So we all have it. We're all born that way. No offense about it. Can't walk around it. Also, it's important to keep in mind that some individuals will not be satisfied with the common desires of man. They're not satisfied with just basics. They seek to destroy, to devour, and to enslave. That is man. One part of man. And so that's my little take on that one. But I'm gonna move forward into the other topic: Satan's 500-year plan. It is more familiar than we like to admit. 2021 going to 2022. It's a new year. We'll post Paul Harvey's 1965 video in the background descriptions. Check it out. So it's a New Year's chat with the devil. New Year's Eve. It's a great moment for reflecting on the past, taking stock in the present, and planning for the future. Right? New Year's resolutions. We all do it. I'm probably going to pronounce this wrong, but it's a French word. I don't speak French. Indulging in the auld lang syne cliché. It's not unique to humans. I'll post that in there too. You can look. I'm not going to pronounce it right, so I can even try again. The spirit in the spirit world does the same, or at least it does according to peace. according to a piece, like I was saying, a 1948 edition of Life, labeled simply The Devil. So it was labeled. There's a piece in a Life magazine. And it was written by an ex-communist spy, Whittaker Chambers, a few months before he capitulated to the national limelight through the Alger Hiss trial. Google that. Check it out. The Alger Hiss trial. The Devil. Recounts a New Year's Eve party in Manhattan in New York City, in which a pessimist converses with a handsome man, soon revealed to be old Nick himself, Satan. The pessimist soon learns is full of self-congratulations. His 500 plan begun during the Enlightenment has been more successful than he could have ever imagined, for humans flock to it like flies to a can of Coke. What were the elements of the 5-year plan? Many more familiar than we care to admit. They're familiar today. This is 1948. The first was to make the devil and hell elements of fantasy. You see it over social media, Facebook. I'm going to do like 3 debates today on social media. They make the devil and hell a fantasy, easily dismissed by those who embrace the so-called irrational mindset. As the devil proudly proclaims in Chambers' essay, well, we have succeeded so well that the centuries there has been no hell. And there is scarcely a rational man in the world today who, despite the overwhelming evidence to the contrary, believes that the devil exists. You know, I'm thinking about the movie. Was it The Usual Suspect? Casa Sose. Greatest trick the devil played on man was to convince me he didn't exist. Right? Not only did the devil make himself appear non-existent, he also did his best to undermine his chief foe. As he tells it, this was accomplished through the introduction of evolutionary thought, Darwinism. So it's going to go like this. I'm going to quote a couple of things out of it, out of this article, this essay, Life magazine, 1948. Shall I ever forget the day when the self-righteous thought of evolution popped into my head? Evolution, I thought. It was but the work of a moment to transmit the idea of human brain. Of course, if I had called it adjustment or adaptation, nobody would have bought into it. But evolution, man, with his incurable, divinely inspired obsession with perfection, could not fail to snap it up. For my subliminal strokes, for the only trouble with it is that, as far as the human race is concerned, it simply ain't so. The devil, said Satan, likes to have it both ways. And how little monsters snapped at the bait in less than a century. I had undone the work more than 1,000 years of knocked the studs from under the religious culture of Europe. Why? Because the evolution explained the universe without him. They want to get rid of him. Then I knew the secret longing of their nasty hearts. Then I knew I had them. And so this brings me to the conversations I had today. The conversations I had today. It's basically the message is for those who dismiss the last several points as purely religious or not worth considering. You know who you are. If you're out there, you're gonna come across that way. The devil confesses to a few interferences of a more secular nature throughout human history. The rest followed as a matter of course, the growth of factories to supply the huge demand of material goods, which we the only values secular man could really feed or feel. The growth of cities and slums, the corruption by the cities of the countryside, which in other times had been the reservoir from which exhausted cultures replenished their faith and forces. The inhumane industrial oppression of men, women, and children, whose desperation found expression in the inhuman horrors of communism, socialism, and anarchism. Marxism, as America's facing cultural Marxism in America 2021 going into 2022. The debasement of all standards of conduct and taste as God was forgotten, and with him the only absolute standard. Finally, the world wars, with millions of men dying by all horrors contrived by secular genius. Establishment of centralized banks in America, worldwide. And I point out all the world wars. Buffoonery, progressive movement. These things have played out too often in the last few years alone. We see it, interest in socialism is exploding. Morals and long-held standards of conduct are disappearing, disintegrating. Even our respectable cities seem to be in decline as inhabitants take a careless attitude towards general standards of decency. There's no decency amongst people. Selfishness. Oh, I'm selfish, but whatever. That's what you want to call me, because I don't want to take the Donald Trump vax. So I'm waiting on the Biden-Harris vax. Right? Everybody told me don't trust Trump and his vaxes. Anyway, a bit offhand there. When Chambers wrote this essay on the devil for life in 1948, his editors were surprised by the outpouring of support it received. Chamber chalks up the positive response to the fact that America in 1948 was still a nation of religious people, presumably aware of the dangers they were facing. One wonders if this response today would be the same. You gotta ask yourself, is this going to be the same? Yeah. Would Americans stand up like they did in the 40s? What we're facing today? I don't know. Like I was saying earlier, and some say too, I believe that we are engaged today in a cold civil war, spiritual war. And unfortunately, it's also a religious war. And wars of religions can be deadliest and ugliest of all. Americans aren't losing religion. They're inventing a new one. Globalism. But we'll save that for another episode, another show. So I'm going to end this little show. I've been on for 18 minutes. Good. I'm under 20. So like I always say, guys, thank you for tuning in. If you're new to the show, please hit like, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, ding, ding, ding. So you get updates on future shows. So it comes down to this. Some individuals. Hey, Kenneth Winters. Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. It's been a while. I'm being shadow banned. I'm glad you tuned in. So I'm going to end the show. Gotta get another 21 minutes, okay? Individuals. I'm about individualism. Some individuals just seek to destroy, to devour, to enslave. These are the evil men and women that are running the world today. You got to wake up, going into 2022, folks. Keep your eyes on the ball. Wake up, see what's going on. So there's my little rant. Thanks for tuning in. As always, God bless. God bless you. God bless America. Talk to you guys soon. Good night.